So we are here to talk about the economic environment and rising interest rates. And so the first thing is, how does the current economic environment and rising interest rates impact real estate investments? Anybody?
Hello. Hi. So my name is Mahwussh, as David introduced me. If you look at the economy of UAE, it's primarily real estate centric. And we have all kinds of projects. I mean, Dubai, if you look at it in that perspective, is quite a mature market. But then, you know, the other Emirates are also coming up. There's Sharjah. Sharjah has really done some, promising projects that have been there in the pipeline. And of course, Abu Dhabi, it's the leader when we talk about economy. So they have also. And then, you know, if you look at the macro dynamics of how the world is shaping out to be, this is the most favorite of all the regions because, you know, it's welcoming. And if you look at it from the investments point of view, people want to call UAE home for all the flexibility that UAE offers, be that, you know, golden visa that allows you to stay here for 10 years, which was not the case a few years ago. It was still transitionary, but now, you know, there are more long-term plans for expats, for people who want to call it home for the long term. And, you know, there are still more avenues which are still opening up. So, yeah, that's
Great, thanks. And you're based out of Dubai.
Yes, so One Perfect Group is based out of Dubai, but we function all across UAE. And if I speak of my hospitality company, which is One Perfect Stay, which is a holiday home company, that has strategic alliances even in Europe with other companies, but that's more marketing centric, where, you know, from our web portal, we invite more and more bookings for the European region.
Good, great.
Thanks.
Yeah, and go ahead, Nicolas. Yeah.
So I really look forward to hear your insight about the macroeconomy that we are experiencing right now. I'll just make a quick introduction about our company. So basically, Eterna International is the global mobility division of Eterna Financial Group, which is a financial conglomerate based in Canada. We've been in business since 1928, so we've been through a lot of fluctuation like this. It's not our first rodeo, but what we are experiencing right now is indeed an increase of the interest rate in the countries where we are involved in terms of investment. Our firm is involved in investment immigration. So these are programs that allows investors from all over the world to acquire residency status in the country in exchange of an investment, most of the time in real estate projects. So you have those projects in the UAE, you have the golden visa, allowing you to get residency against the purchase of a property. Our firm is involved in Turkey, in Ireland, Canada, and the US. So what we are experiencing as a group that is structuring those kind of investment proposition is a real estate developer reconsidering their investment project, waiting for the Fed to have to give them a clearer path with respect to the increase of the interest rate. So I really look forward to hear what you have to say about it.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Fadi Alkhalaf from Blominvest, Saudi Arabia. Blominvest actually is a bank, operates in 12 countries, but I'm representing Blominvest Saudi Arabia, which is, let's say it's a separate entity based in Saudi Arabia, licensed by the Capital Market Authority of Saudi Arabia. What we are doing actually in Blominvest is collective investment schemes, which is fund. Most of you know what's investment fund. So we are actually investing in the real estate on behalf of our clients. And currently we are focusing in Saudi Arabia, and as I said before, we are expanding to UK and UAE, inshallah. So it's very common to talk about the interest rate. The interest rate effect in the whole economy. Actually, all of us, all our countries are just waiting what the Fed will say. If one small chair moved in Fed, then all tables will be moved some in a way or other. But particularly in the real estate, it's not a secret. Once the interest rate is up, usually, most of the time, the price of the real estate will come down. And that dynamics, it comes once the interest rate is increased, then the cost to buy a property or to acquire a property or a house or whatever, it will be more. Because, you know, it's different. In Saudi Arabia before, last year we were at 2 point something in a mortgage. Now we are talking about 7 almost. So this, the higher interest rate will increase the cost of acquiring the house or the property. Then this price will, or this cost, sorry, will affect the buyers. Then it will reduce the demand in a way or other. Once the demand reduces dramatically, the price will go down. Anyway, we are not in that dramatic way, but still I can say the real estate market affected, especially the income generating, because in our companies we are managing different type of projects and income generating or development, industrial, whatever. But the most one that affected a lot, it's the income generating, you know, because it's the risk premium, the difference of risk premium. So what to do, because I have to go back to the topic, which is the risk management and real estate investment. There's so many, let's say, steps to mitigate the risk. One of them, which is not, I'm not bringing something new to you, that's the hedging of the finance. But it's a short term actually, because it's based on the tenor of the loan you have. If your real estate is under mortgage or under loan, but it's not easy to refinance again. So if you know from the beginning, that's always the golden question. Who knows or who sees the hidden part of the chart? Who knows that the interest rate will reach to that point? Last year, we had a very good offers from banks in Saudi Arabia, hedging. It was in a low prices, let's say. But currently, the banks offering hedging instrument, it's really high. It's a challenge to have it. So this is what we can see it now. But on the other side, and we can see there's opportunity to enter the market. There's a good opportunity offered in the Saudi market, especially I'm talking about Saudi market. There's a good opportunities to enter the Saudi market. And as you know that the Vision 2030, we are welcoming, and Madam Mahwussh said the whole region welcoming everyone. So I believe there's a good opportunity to immigrate to Saudi Arabia, to invest in Saudi Arabia or other countries. There's another options also, my colleagues here. That's from
Great, thank you. Yep. And so, Nicolas, when you're talking about commercial real estate globally, do the markets fluctuate like from country to country, or do they all kind of happen the same? For example, in the U.S., I think last week they froze the interest rates in housing for the first time in about 2 years, but they have been in a steady increase.
Well, the programs that give access to green cards in the U.S., for instance, is named the EB-5 program. And this program has existed for nearly 25 years. However, it really started when you had the credit crunch in 2008, right? You saw higher interest rate at that time, the banks were not lending, and then developers started to look for alternative sources of financing. So this is when the EB-5 program really started to take off in China, but also a lot in India and in the Middle East. So you had major projects, real estate projects in the US that would have never been realized but for this immigrant investor source of financing. So you're talking about project like Hudson Yards in New York City, raised over $1.6 billion on EB-5 money, on immigrant investor money. Well, the Hudson Yard is called the Little Dubai in New York. It would not exist without EB-5 money. Our team has financed the construction for over 700 millions of public schools in the state of Florida with EB-5 money. Those schools would not exist without the immigrant investor. And we did that at the time when developer did not have access to credit. So we see a growing interest for that alternative source of financing in the US currently, where although the interest, and maybe you will be able to expand on this, inflation plus rising interest rate makes developers reluctant sometimes to start new projects because they don't see the end of it. They don't see the final cost of the project. So we see some development going forward only because of immigrant investor money, because you have financing at a much lower cost than conventional financing, because your investors are getting green card in exchange for their money.
Got it. So with an investment like that, with the schools in Florida, like you were talking about, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, a commercial venture. So then how would you make a return on an investment like that?
That's correct. So basically the return for the investor himself is the green card. So they are investing for a period of time and they get the green card. The developer has access to, I wouldn't say an infinite source of financing, but very important source of financing at a lower cost, and most of the time in form of non-recourse loan. So it has been a game changer for many developers in the US.
Right. So, I mean, you know, it is an alternative way of investing. And a lot of people, I don't think, actually realize that immigrant investments, just because interest rates are high in one country, the loans on those can actually be lower for the immigrant investors as well. And you gave kind of like one example already. Did you want to talk more about some other examples of where you all might know about like immigrant investors and how it, you know, became fruitful for people?
I think I would like to take it forward, especially in relevance to the Middle East. That model is being followed here with the flexibility of residential visa that we were previously talking about. You know, with golden visas initially given out for 10 years, but now there's more flexibility for as long as 5 years also, depending on the investment bracket that you fall in. So, for example, something which is worth $1 million, I'm not 100% sure on the numbers because they do change. They're flexible, so you get a 5 years residence or investment visa, and on 2 million plus, it's 10 years plus, which is of course renewable. So of course, you know, the flexibility and offering residential permits based on the investments that you're making, that has taken over this region as well, especially UAE and now of course Saudi to follow. Our role is something which comes later in the picture once, you know, you are here, and I think if I look at the audience, we are mainly from, you know, from the regions which are closer to the Middle East, like India and you know, the other Arab regions. So this just is a natural fit. UAE, just a few hours flight, and you know, it's convenient, it's practical, and then it's giving you the liberty to be here for 10 years and call it home. And not just that, but you know, you are going to have capital appreciation on the asset that you're going to purchase, and it's tax-free, almost tax-free. So you know, I mean, there's a lot of advantage. But then, you know, then you get on to the stage where you have to say, okay, you know, do you have to get something which is off plan or which is already available in the market, how to go about that. And then, because it's going to be a second home for you, then, you know, what do you want to do with it? Is it going to be something which is going to be leased on long term, or you want to go more towards the disruptive space where this is going to be backed by, you know, disruptive spaces like Airbnb, because in UAE we have companies like One Perfect Stay which are managing these units on short-term rental model, and of course you make much higher income as compared to conventional annual rental models. So, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, and I do want to get more into detail about the services provided by your company once people do actually complete the process. And then in your country, like, what are some of the advantages of this kind of investment?
Sorry?
Like, in your country, what are some of the advantages to this kind of investment?
Yes, according to His Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh, Minister of Investment, before end of this year, the the ownership, the foreign ownership law will be released. But whatever available information that everyone can buy in Saudi Arabia, resident or non-resident, Muslim or non-Muslim, including the holy cities. So they will make somehow some zones to buy or to ownership. The good news that today you can invest in the holy cities via fund, through fund, not directly. You can invest in Mecca and Medina, and it's, we call it in Saudi Arabia, according to Minister Majid Al-Qasabi, this is a non-recession sector. Because you know Hajj and Umrah, it's coming back and back. I believe this year it will be a lot of crowd in Mecca. And I believe the next year will be more. We are targeting 30 million a year, Hajj and Umrah. So that investment in real estate, I believe in the level of prices today, we witness it in Mecca and Medina and in all Saudi Arabia. I think that's a good timing or a good weather to invest there. However, the jurisdiction and the laws in Saudi Arabia very restrict. Your ownership, it's proven. Your ownership, it's protected. Okay, so only the part which we expect to be released by the new laws about the residency or the golden visa. We expect still there's nothing is official. But as I said, in all Saudi you can buy by end of this year. Currently you can buy for residential, for the purpose of residential, but for all purposes, hopefully before end of this year.
Yeah, totally. Our group is doing a lot of government advisory services because a lot of government are looking at those golden visas. You have golden visa all around the world, and just to expand on my colleague is saying, some countries have a residence program, but that are not adapted to the market of foreign investors. So we are providing service of advising governments to adapt their regulation to make it palatable for the market as well as for the local population. So each country is different. Each country will adapt its own policy depending on their local needs. For instance, our group has an office in Ireland which has its golden visa program, but it's a golden visa that is focusing primarily on building social housings, which is pretty specific. So these are projects of real estate investment that is backed by government. However, it is in this field of activities. Other countries, like in Portugal, they will issue a visa of residency in exchange for an investment in real estate outside of Lisbon and Porto. Same thing in Greece. They will exclude certain areas. So again, adapting to the need of the country, right? So there's no blanket rule in this industry. And sometimes government will ask, well, how I don't attract as many clients as I want. I don't have as many investors as I wish. How can I adapt my regulation to make it more attractive?
And hopefully you'll meet some this week.
If you allow me just to add a small point to what Nicolas said, always when you want to invest abroad, out of your country, you have to hire advisor. That's just as ABC. For example, the inheritance tax. You don't know what other countries can do in that event. God forbid. But you have to hire advisor. I'm not naming anyone. Just hire advisor in any country if you want to immigrate and to invest as immigration in that country, because the complications of the tax regulations and the ownership regulations, it's not that easy to be understood by a regular person. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. And so then I do want to go down the panel and see if you could each, I know you've all have touched on it and talked a little bit about it, but if you want to give more expansive answers about what exactly your companies do in assisting in this kind of situation with immigrant investing. Ladies first.
Sure.
Sorry.
So like I said, and just want to expand on the point of investment, even if we, the primarily focus has to be on the real estate and, that's the main topic, but UAE is open to all kinds of investors where you're coming here, setting up your businesses and, even industries now. So then going back to the real estate, I'd like to start right from the beginning, where you have to make the right choice about where to invest. And I think there are all kinds of budgets the market is open to, for something as low as 500,000 dirhams, which would be about $125,000 roughly. And now, there's even land available for the investor to build and construct and then manage it. Whether you want to manage it as a holiday home setup where you have multiple rooms, or you want to do it again more on the conventional scale, or you just want to flip it and give it to because development wise, that's where the biggest margin on the returns is. The sooner you enter into the market, and that would be ideally from purchasing the land, building on, and then managing, so higher the profits will be. So that's where my company comes into play. I meet all kinds of investors from all around the world, from Europe, Americas, and of course from Southeast Asia, Pakistan, India. And I think, again, going back to the macro dynamics of the world, they're not, unfortunately, not so favorable, but then, ultimate beneficiary is this region. If I speak about, the region where I'm coming from, the currency is unfortunately having a nosedive. So how would you safeguard the savings or the investments that you've done back home? Pakistan is just an hour and a half away from the UAE, and the rates are quite favorable. So your currency is secured, it's locked because dollar and dirhams are pegged. That's the first thing that will help you safeguard your investment. And then, of course, it's open to the entire world. You have 150 plus nationalities staying here, the diversity, and of course, then that brings a lot of space, a lot of margin into appreciation. So One Perfect Group comes really early on in the picture, where you want to get an advice on what to buy, where to start from, what is your budget, and then ultimately what you want to do with it. Go conventional, go disruptive. We are always there to support you.
Completely unrelated, could you lend me $150,000?
If you invest
Yeah,
200
I just heard of a good investment. Yes. Go ahead, Nicolas.
So Ms. Alam's service is crucial, because the motivation of our clients is primarily not necessarily to relocate immediately. They want to buy a plan B, right? They usually are quite successful in their home country, but they don't know what the future will reserve, right? So they'd like to be able to take a flight whenever they want, go to Dubai, go to France, go to Europe. So these program gives you the freedom to do so. So this, I'm talking from the perspective of the investor. So these programs are very popular in South Asia, and Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, China, obviously, Russia. You see probably a lot of Russian-speaking people in the UAE these days. So this is, I would say, a plan B. So plan B means you still are living in your home country most of the time. So your property needs to be managed. Your property needs to be rented on a short-term basis. So this is where Ms. Alam's come into the picture. Mr. Al-Shakbak, Blominvest, you will say more, but this company has the capacity to develop those important projects. So what we do at Eterna is we have a distribution network all around the world. I'm based in Hong Kong. We have offices in Shanghai, Vietnam. We have partners in Bangladesh, all over the world. And we are raising the capital from the immigrant investors. Then we are working hand-to-hand with developers in the UAE, in the US, in Canada, in Ireland, to develop qualified investment proposition. So it's important so that the developer doesn't waste their time. We are here to advise them what is the IRR that needs, what is the return on investment for the investors, for everybody, so that their product is actually sellable. And sky's the limit. Like I said, one developer in New York raised 1.6 billion US just with that program. So if it is well structured, there's a very high capacity because your interest is fixed and it's non-recourse.
Well, one question that just came to my mind as you were speaking. When you were talking about protecting your investment. So in the past year, I've been to the Ukraine, volunteering over there, and thinking about when this situation does end, eventually it will, the rebuilding of that country. Is this perhaps an opportunity or a situation where maybe the Ukrainian government might say, or nobody knows, or like I was just wondering, war-torn countries, if this has happened before me?
Well, Ukraine has triggered many things in Europe. A lot of movement of population within Europe. A lot of Russian as well has decided to move out. And I think, I don't live in Dubai, but just by looking walking in the mall, I can see that there's a growing population of Russian-speaking people there. The war in Ukraine has affected this industry. Russian immigrants have been banned to apply in many programs as well. So that's also as a result of the war. It has affected the industry, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, please. Yeah. As Blominvest, we are a little bit different because we believe, I go back again to the topic, the title of the topic, risk management in real estate. We believe also in diversification, because if you are investing in one asset as investment, if you have another benefit like citizenship or whatever, that's another story. But if you are focusing on investment, it's needless to say that don't put all the eggs in the same basket. But if through the funds, you can invest in multi-asset, either in development or in income generating, and also you have a professional team to lead that. And there's under the umbrella of Capital Market Authority, either in Saudi or even in UAE, to invest through the funds. We believe for the small investor and even for the institution, it's a good choice. Currently in Mecca, if you want, I'll go back to Mecca. If you want to invest in income generating in Mecca, in, for example, 10 assets, you can invest even every single dollar or real you spend it will be distributed to all these assets, and you will gain the dividend at the end of the year or quarterly or whatever. So we believe that also I have to encourage my industry. Real estate fund, it's a good channel to invest in all other countries. We have latest fund in UK. We launched it just first week of June, which is hybrid. It's an investment and ownership. You can invest in UK, development and income generating for 5 years. And eventually either you will have the return or return for investment, or you will exit, in-kind exit we call it, with apartment or two apartment, whatever, based on the investment. So we believe that it's that type of investment or that hybrid scheme, it's accepted by our client, because most of Arab they like London. Actually, London is the capital of the world. Everyone like London, frankly. So they want to invest in London, and at the same time, you can exit at the end by the property. So you will gain, let's say, the interest or the profit of the developer. So you will have, for example, if the apartment in the central London, for example, 2 million pound, you will get it at 1.8 or 1.6 based on your investment. And this investment, it will not be one shot. It will be as a capital call for 2 years or 3 years. It's also one of the, I believe, one of a good channel to invest in real estate.
To say something.
Yeah, I'd like to expand that point onto something much larger. Yes, crisis in Ukraine, which have, I think, equally affected both sides of the equation. And then, I mean, there is some kind of crisis or challenge that is being faced by each region. When you look at Asia, when you look at even the European and the American side, an informal recession is there. But then, that results in some kind of an opportunity in another part of the world. You have to keep you have to be flexible, and you have to have an open mind. Even, I mean, I'll extend that to Corona, right? I mean, there are people who made the insane amount of money during COVID, where unfortunately there was such a catastrophe that was happening on the world scale. So every catastrophe, every challenge, every tragedy, crisis, it does have an opportunity at the other end. And probably, this is what I've also seen in my business. 50% of the business transactions that we did with One Perfect Real Estate were mainly Russians and Ukrainians. So I think it's a timely decision where you hedge your risk and you move towards another region where the investment would be a bit more secure.
Yeah. So just to link both of the last comments, basically, we have a lot of our real estate developer partners that are involved in the investment immigration in order to create a database or a captive audience for their next non-immigration product, like the one you described. Because when you, as a real estate professional or as a real estate developer, allow your client to basically change their life or change the life of their children by giving them access to a second residency or second citizenship, you create a loyal customer for a very long time. So what we see is a lot of returning business. So once the client has invested in order to obtain residency, then after a certain period of time, the money comes back in form of capital return. The money is reinvested then in other alternative funds or investment proposition that the fund manager or real estate developer will have in hand at that time. So this is, you mix pure investment with something deeply personal when you're talking about mobility.
And I like what you were just saying too. So like, don't necessarily have your heart set on maybe just going to the States or coming to Dubai, but like you said, be open-minded, be flexible, because the market does fluctuate. Good deal. And then one final question for the panel: what are the future trends or predictions in this area that you all might see happening? I'm sorry. What are the future trends or predictions in this area?
The only prediction I can make is we cannot anticipate the future. Some programs come and go. So you have programs that have announced their closure last year. We had Portugal, which was a very popular program that linked with real estate that is about to close. So the Irish program as well has announced its upcoming closure. And at the same time, you have other program that comes. Dubai has announced its new program recently. You have every year you have new program that comes and program that goes. So we are following this very every day basically. What we see is a more pressure on program that grants citizenship directly through an investment, whereas more programs are favoring residency instead of citizenship.
Yes, I believe the investor in the real estate should consider that the interest rate up and down, it's a nature of life. So the investor should continue investing in real estate, and this is what we believe, and this is what we witness. The interest rate, I believe, I was young that time, it reached 15%. I believe in 1980. So you cannot predict, you cannot see the hidden part of the chart. But once you did your due diligence, your homework to study the investment opportunity, we believe this always there's a right time. Back to talk about Saudi Arabia, I encourage everyone to see the programs that related to invest in Saudi Arabia real estate. Saudi Arabia has 6-7 years from today, easy to access. Maybe after that time it will be challenging to access Saudi Arabia. We believe Saudi Arabia will be the hub of the Middle East, and I cannot say more, but even Asia, Saudi Arabia will be the central, NEOM and all Oxagon and all that project will have its effect on a real estate price. So whatever price is available now in Riyadh, for example, the average price of apartment in north of Riyadh, for example, it's 1 million or 1.2. This price we witness it now, maybe after 4 or 5 years we will not catch it. That's it.
I'd like to conclude it on a point that, everybody or anyone who's been waiting for recession, there's no recession. Maybe a correction in maybe after 18 to 24 months. They say there's never a bad market. There's a market to either buy or sell. And as long as you have a budget and you have an investment and there's an opportunity, you have to go for it. There's no absolute pit where you'll keep waiting at the edge and wait to call your shots. So that's the future trend. The market is growing. The market is promising. If you have something to sell, sell it, make your money. If you want to buy an off plan and, make your money again. But just be in the market and go and seize the opportunity. These are my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I agree. When I first saw that this was part of our discussion today, I thought, we talked about like it being such a niche market, but I really feel like in a couple of years' time, it's not going to be. I really feel like it's going to explode. We do have a few minutes left. If anybody in the audience does have any questions for our panelists, these are the experts on immigration investing. If anybody has any questions, come on up to the mic. You've said it all. They understand it. They
now
get
that means
it.
we explain everything perfectly. So
Yes.
there is no questions.
Yeah. Yes, well, great. Oh, yes, go ahead. Go to the microphone.
I have a strong feeling, maybe in the panelist he said that no recession. Now there is also equally talk saying that it could be a stagflation. So stagflation will be worse in case that hits than the recession, because we don't know what the US Treasury will take trend. If the unemployment, the inflation is not completely controlled, we might get into the stagflation. But then, as an investor, maybe the large investor funds, that at the end of the day, they are managing the other funds. As a retail investor, the key risk or the return option, is it wise to keep, because all the banks are, offering very high rate. Even the central banks are offering sukuk at a very high rate. It's a high rate, no risk versus taking the risk. What do you think about that?
I didn't understand the question.
I'm saying that do I invest in this market when I foresee the stagflation, or put my money in a no-risk bond or the deposits?
Ultimately, the choice is personal. The choice is yours. But like I said about the market, there are all kinds of offers which are in the market. So like I said, Dubai is a mature market where you have hundreds of thousands of offers, but then, there are upcoming developments in the outer Emirates that you have to look out for. I don't want to be specific, but, we can take that into a one-on-one meeting. But there are pockets where the returns are as high as 10% or more. So, if I were in your place, I would definitely go for this kind of an investment, which is real estate.
Great. Well, any other questions for anyone? All right, let's have a big hand for our panelists. Thank you very much for the information you gave us today.
Thank you very much.